Come out. It's spinning.
I don't know live, man.
Are we live?
Mm-hmm. It's possible.
I'm going to go that we are live right now, Martha.
Are we live right now?
I'm on your phone checking right now, so I will.
It's go. Oh, we are live.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? We're live.
I don't know how I'm going to stop this live because it doesn't even show that we're live.
All the way until next Thursday. We just have to stay here for a week.
Yeah.
Actually, we need flight. I'll stay on. We'll take shifts. No one.
I literally, like, when that happens, I'll shut my laptop and like unplug it and like to make sure it's not on. Like, I'll figure it out later.
Yeah, we don't want to accidentally be on after this.
And then you do you peek, you like open it up. Like, are we still there?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Well, needless to say, we had minor technical difficulties, but here's the deal. We do not let it stop us.
And when we say we mean Martha.
Yeah, we had no problem. We were great. We were just hanging out.
I was doing just fine.
I had all the difficulties. I'm crawling. I'm crying. I also can't talk. Man, you guys. All right. So, anywho, sorry we were late. Thank you for waiting around for us because this is going to be an amazing talk, you guys. This is going to be awesome. For those of you that are working the day job and thinking like, man, so I hear these guys talking all the time about living a life that they love and living in passion, living in service and being in balance and having a happy family and enough money and all of the things, right? When you hear us talking about that, maybe you're still going to work every day in a job that you don't love, okay? Maybe that's you and you're like, I just wish I could do what they're talking about. I'm here to tell you, and we're here to tell you that it's not a wish that does that, right? It's a plan. So what we're going to talk about today, you guys, is how to plan, how to move from your day job to your dream job. Now, Troy's going to give the gold nugget segue from what we were talking about before with finances to this, and let's sort of just let's let it encapsulate us. So again, put on your my dream job hat, and let's live in that space for the next hour plus. Okay, so take it away, Troy.
Yeah, so I know a lot of the followers here are new to OOLA. So always in OOLA, we look at our lives in a framework. That just makes it easier to organize life because life's chaotic. And if we take what comes at us, it can be a mess. So if we think about what we've been talking about the last 3 weeks, that was in the 7 key areas of life, specifically in the category of finance. So there are 7 key areas of life. They all start with an F: fitness, finance, family, field, which is career, faith, friends, and fun. Then there are things called blockers. And then there are things called accelerators. Blockers get in the way of our goals and dreams. Accelerators get us there more quickly. And then there's 3 steps we need to do on a regular basis to get our dream life. So that's the beautiful thing about whether you're a coach, whether you're being coached in this framework, whether you're just looking through your life through the lens of OOLA, it's a great way to look at your life at all times. Specifically today, we're in the 7 key areas and we're in the category of field, which is career. And that's what we want to talk about is so many people, 55, statistically, research-based information, 55 to 70% of us wake up every day and go to a job we hate. And that's not OOLA. That's not how there's a 7-word affirmation for every 7F. And this says, I am pursuing my purpose in life. And I wonder if you're watching this, if you could ask that of yourself, are you pursuing your purpose in life? And many times we're not. I know early in my career, I know Dave early in his career, I know Martha early in her career, all of us have had day jobs, things that we need to pay rent, pay the bills. Maybe it was because it was convenient. You had a friend that worked there, so you worked there. Maybe someone in the family did this, so you did this. But later on in life, when you have the luxury of actually stepping back and going, what do I really want to do? Like what is my calling? What is my purpose? I'm here for a reason. I know it, and it doesn't feel right. And almost everyone gets that tug. Almost everyone gets that nudge, unless they're just tired and overwhelmed from their crappy job. Most people, usually in their late 20s, it starts getting in, and then 30s, it gets pretty heavy, and 40s, it's like heavy. It's like, you know what? I've made money, but I want to make a difference. And what why am I here? And who am I here to serve? And that's really what we're talking about today is there is nothing wrong with a day job. If you have a day job, you should say a prayer in gratitude that you're employed and you're able to provide value in some capacity in this beautiful thing we call our community, the world. And you should arrive early and you should stay late and you should overserve every transaction as far as giving more value than you receive, because people are watching and it's just the noble thing to do. But at the same time of serving that day job with honor and with gratitude, you have an eye on the prize. You're saying, okay, my skill sets, my gifts are this, and that's what I'm working toward. And what Dave's going to talk about, and I think what we're going to talk about together, is how do you build that bridge from what you're doing that is a day job to that thing that is your dream job?
Yeah, and I'm going to jump in on that, Martha, unless you have something to say.
But go ahead.
No, but I want to challenge everybody a little deeper too, because Troy's talking about the 55% of people that hate their jobs, and they're driving to a job they hate. They're in traffic all day. They get done and they come home. That's 55%. But I actually want to challenge the other 45% too, because there's a real interesting thing. Myself and Dr. Troy are both chiropractors in a past life. Loved it. Loved taking care of patients. Loved working with patients, all that stuff. And I thought that was my purpose for sure. I loved it. I loved the clinic environment. I loved working with patients, etc. And then there's this new thing called OOLA that we do now. And it's just the next level of what we love to do. And I was challenged by that. Like, do I really want to leave this and do something else? Because I felt like this is my purpose. I'm living my purpose. And now I see my purpose as a whole different. It's different. It's growing. It's a higher purpose for my life. And my sister, she's a hairstylist, owns her own boutique, very, very successful in it. And for years, she was like, I want to do something else, but I feel this is my job. Like, I'm a hairstylist, what I do. I'm great at color. I have a great clientele, but I really feel like this is my purpose. But I feel like there might be, like you were talking about that nudge, Martha. Mm-hmm. She had that nudge for years. There's just something. She goes, now that you're a OOLA, do you regret leaving chiropractic? And I'm like, no, I love working with patients, but it's not like zero. Like OOLAs, I love this so much more. And for 5 years, she would come home. She would call me. She would say, my hands are sore, my wrists are sore, but I just can't see myself leaving it. I feel like it's part of my identity. And I think that's a little bit of that Midwest, like you identify with what your career is, what your job is. And she left it about 4 or 5 months ago to do OOLA full time as a OOLA certified coach that's working on the advisory team. And like, she's like, I would never, ever, ever cut hair, color hair, own a salon ever again because of the freedom that I have right now. And she sold her house like a week ago, and she took her 3 kids and her husband, and they're Airbnb-ing across the country for 18 months because she can now work from this. So she's living a different version of her life that she didn't think was possible, and it wasn't possible when she was tied to a career. What we're hearing a ton of, Martha, is we're hearing a ton of people go, okay, I have the job thing dialed in. Like if I look at the 7 areas of life, fitness, finance, family, field, faith, friends, fun, the field, I got it. Like I have what I love to do. And now this COVID thing hit, and now you've been working from home or you've been furloughed. And a lot of people are like, I got off the hamster wheel and it gave me a lot of time to think. And I don't know if I want to go back on. So we're getting the question more now than ever of how do I go from this day job to the dream job? And when we're working with clients, we're working with people, especially Palooza, we work with a lot of people that say, hey, I like my job or I hate my job. But we work with a lot of people that say, I want that next thing. I want a higher purpose. I want to be part of a bigger vision for my life. I want something that's going to give me more freedom of time, more freedom of schedule, more freedom with my kids. I want my own thing. And then you talk to them 4 months later, you're like, you should do that. You should work through this. That is something you should do. And then you talk to them 4 months later, they're like stressed out because they quit their job. And they're like, okay, I went for it. I quit my job. And I'm like, do you have a brand? Do you have a plan? Do you have a website? Do you have a Facebook page or an Instagram? And they're like, nope, I just quit so I could start working on this new thing. And now they're 3-4 months in and they're having tons of financial stress. So their financial stress went way through the roof while they're working on this new product or this new job, this new career. And that's why with this series that we want to do is if you're in a job that you can't stand, don't waste the next 20 years there so you can someday sit on a beach and throw an umbrella and come and say, that was an amazing 20 years. Don't do that. Start working on developing that plan. If you're in a job you like, but you like but you're thinking, man, there would be something more if I had more time freedom, more financial freedom, travel, kids, whatever it is. Really pay attention to the next 3 weeks as we work through this. And if you're in a job you love, maybe it's also something you're like, I love my job, but maybe I can do something else, or maybe I can do something in addition to, or maybe I could do something, take that one leap. And that's what I want to really, like, I'm really excited about this topic. Like Troy was excited about the money topic. I'm really excited about the career topic because you're identified with what you do. How many times, especially in the Midwest, what do you do? I do this. This is what I do. This is what you dedicate your life to. And you're spending 40, 50, 60 hours a week dedicating it to something. Make sure what you're dedicating that to is something that you love, something that provides for you and your family on time, freedom, financial security. Make sure it's something you love because you're dedicating your life to this. And this is just a great topic for us to discuss.
Yeah, I was a person that was the, 55 to 70%? Is that the stat, Troy?
Yeah.
So I was a 55 to 70. And then I quit my job and I started my own marketing agency, right? And I thought that that's what I wanted to do. And it was all fine and good until then I got shackled by that. And I was more shackled by that than I was my day job. Meaning I was tethered to clients. I was getting emails all, day and night. And what I thought I was doing going into it is I thought that I was quitting the shackles, breaking free of that and doing my own thing. I walked myself into another version of slavery, you guys. So like that was what I thought that I wanted. And until I realized that, and I finally was like, oh my gosh. So I went the right direction. I went the way I wanted to go. I wanted to be able to help people, right? But then instead I backed out of that and I was like, okay, I need to go into like teaching other people how to do this stuff. This is what I love. And the awesome thing about it, I love the question about the chiropractic or quitting chiropractic, quitting being a chiropractor. You fully quit, yeah? Like that's, I mean, yeah. I'm just defining at this point. I don't know why it even matters, but whatever. But in quitting that, and quitting the digital marketing agency for me, it was something that needed to happen. It was still a step in my journey. And so do I look back on it and say, oh man, I wish that part hadn't happened? No. I 100% love that part happened. It gave me tremendous perspective on my own life, but also on other people's businesses and getting on the inside of what they were doing and being able to know so much more. It was a step in the process. So don't ever undervalue the steps that you're going through. And one of those steps is where you're at right now. And so don't undervalue, don't look to the future and see it as the greener pasture, because the grass essentially is the same, you guys. It's just the color of glasses you're looking at it through, right? Like the lens that you're looking at it. So where you're at right now, like what Troy said, be grateful for where you're at right now. Being grateful for where you're at right now is going to make everything so much easier in your transition, because you're not going to be like, oh, I have to get out, and then do a lack scarcity leap where it's just like, hopefully something's there that's going to catch me, because, right? We need to plan and we need to build. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I actually think that I would even go the next step with your story, with our story, with who's ever watching this, is I would say you are right where you need to be right now. Not that I regret it happened. I think you are being taught things, and sometimes it's what you don't want. But I look at every step of I always look at life as upgrading, like an evolution of who I am, who I'm designed to be. Like I'm always a work in process. And I don't even know where this is going. I trust that there's a plan for my life. And I just try to continually challenge myself to do more and do better in any category of life. It's my finance, my career, as a husband, as a father, whatever it happens to my health. That's the whole point of OOLA, is every day take small steps to be a better version of me in these key categories. And I think even my worst jobs, my worst jobs, I look at that taught me what I didn't want, or it taught me discipline, or it taught me gratitude to just be grateful for a paycheck. I mean, all of these things, I always look at this, like I'm a Christian. So I look at like God as this master plan, like developing skill sets in me. We always talk about Karate Kid, like when he's teaching him to wax a car, it's like, wait, I want to fight. No, you're being taught things. You just don't know what you're being taught yet, because I have plans for you that are greater than you can see for yourself. So rather than just looking at it, be grateful for it, but always have a hand in growth. Always have a hand in. When I thought I went up the evolution of like, I laid railroad ties and I'm not built for that. I was in an assembly line in a factory. I mean, some of my college jobs, I delivered flowers. I mean, I had some crazy weird jobs on the evolution. I have no idea what I was doing. Then I saw chiropractic. I'm in natural health. It's holistic. I was like, Dave, I'm like, this is the thing. I thought I was done. I retired debt free 11 years ago. But then now I look back, like all of that has taught me about life balance and how fulfilling life can be if you look at all these areas. And I actually think I'm there now. Who knows? I might not be. There might be something past this that I don't know, because what I'm doing is embracing it and challenging myself to do more every day. In this part about just don't quit, I think one thing that's really important to understand, because we do see this a lot, and it's really important. In this category, when you heard the stat, 55 to 70% of people hate their jobs. Most people run away from it. They just hit the boiling point. They hit the breaking point, and they throw in their key and run away and say something at their manager and walk out with no plan. That's running away from something. What you teach is multiple streams of income. Even if you're in a job you're dissatisfied, keep that job, keep that income stream, and then run towards something. Mm-hmm. So that's the difference. And because we've seen it time and time again, where people do just run away from something, and they follow some Instagrammer who's killing it on something, and they just want to like do the same thing without any plan, without any realistic goal, and they're like, I'm going to be whatever. And that's amazing if that's your calling, but make sure that keep that stream of income coming in. Don't run away from it. Just embrace it, be grateful for it. At the same time, you have a clear plan, which we're going to talk about, but develop a clear plan to the next. I wouldn't even say your dream job. I would say what's next in your evolution as a human in this category.
Yeah.
I want to touch on just one thing go ahead. Go ahead, Martha. Go ahead.
Super quick. The Instagrammers, just a heads up, if you're following Instagrammers and you're like, oh, she is crushing it, and then you want to be just like her, and you just see her post and you're like, I'm going to make posts just like her, basically, right? In my own words, I'm going to do that. Don't do it, A. But B, you're only seeing the top of the iceberg, right? We all know the iceberg thing, right? Where you see just the top of it, and then underneath the water is this massive thing, right? And that's where the work happens. That's where the systems exist. That's where all of the business really is. You see some posts. Posts are not a business, you guys. Just a heads up. If you see an Instagrammer killing it or crushing it, they're not crushing it just because of posts. They're crushing it because of everything else that happens under the water. Just a heads up.
One of the things that
sorry, dude. I was just going to talk about the white paper.
No, I'm not going to talk today. I'm just going to be in the middle, and I'll just point to who wants to talk. Seriously, I'm good. I'm actually going to go get another tea. You guys have an amazing conversation
Go for
today.
it, man.
No, go.
This isn't even supposed to be my topic, so I'm going to shut up after this. But
you're never going to shut up.
When people look at like even our modest following of like whatever 500,000 people on Facebook, right? They think it's easy. Like I'm going to do that. And we actually published a white paper because so many people, when we started OOLA, I had a Hotmail email account and a Google search bar. That was it. I didn't have Twitter. Dave was the same way. We didn't have anything. And we went from that in a relatively, to people watching, it feels like a short period of time from getting paid. We got one of the first talks we ever had was a sandwich. We got paid a sandwich. And then we get paid $50,000 to speak at big events. And we had no publishing deal. We were like trying to just write stuff. And then we got a real publishing deal, multi-book publishing deal. And all these, like all the no followers to 1 million followers. And it looks easy from the outside. Here's the truth. Is it possible? Absolutely. It's a grind. And it's persistence, and it's never losing sight of your vision. That white paper, if someone in the chat wants to go to oolalife.com/white paper, if you're building a personal brand, I know we're going to talk more about that next week, but if you're building your thing, whatever your thing is, those are 23 pages of what we did right, what we did wrong, but how we grew OOLA. And I think it'll help you too, because it'll save you tons of time, energy, and frustration. When you talk about this, so many people make it look so easy. those Instagram posts, and then someone reads an article like they make all of this money on Instagram. Absolutely. Is it possible? Absolutely. Dream big. But don't be confused that it's not going to take consistent, disciplined effort. And the good news is, if you're that person that won't quit when it gets difficult and you persist, we lose people along the journey. And it's the ones that persist and course correct and change and evolve as media's change. And it was Instagram, now it's Snapchat, and then it's TikTok. And that you flow with it. You're going to be successful, but it's not easy.
Kind of just wrapping everything together that we've been all talking about too is just, I was going to mention that white paper, and I'm glad that Troy did, because that's such a key part. Is people look at OOLA and they're like, man, you guys got this brand. I want to do that. I want to write a book. And Troy and I talk about this a lot when we're having our conversations on the bus. Like, would you do it all again, knowing the work that we put in? And Troy was completely retired at the time, 7 years ago. And we would, but we laugh because the work we put in is intense. So to get OOLA to where it is today, the brand, what does it say, Troy? I just wanted.
Oh, he muted him. He muted himself.
and now he's interrupting me with cards. It doesn't change. Like, this is my whole entire life. This is how we are on stage and everything. So every time we go on stage, he goes, "No, dude, you just take it. I really like this. Is you? I don't want to say anything." And then on stage, he talks most of the time. It's great. Troy, you can talk as much as you want. You got very valuable stuff. But anyway, so going back to the bus, was like, would we do this again? It is a lot of work. So the reason I say that is coming back actually to point one is you're building the bridge from where you are today to where you want to go. Imagine where you want to be in maybe 6 months or even 2-3 years. Like, this is a thing. This has been a 7-year evolution for Troy and I to get OOLA to where it is today, and to get it to, we wanted a household name around the world, right? And we're on that trajectory of what we want to do. But it took us also, we talk to our coaches about this all the time. We just had a meeting with them the other day. It also took us, I think, 90 days to finally sell a book to someone we don't know. And it took us like months and months and months and months to get our books going. It took us a couple years to get them in Barnes & Noble. And that's constantly pushing and working. I could call Troy almost back in the day, especially, and now again too, but I could call him at 2 a.m. almost any time back in the day. And he would go, "Hey, what's up?" Like working. So this is a couple things. As we build this bridge, this is what we see people do at OOLA. They quit their job with no financial security, no plan. Don't do that. If you have a job that you like, or you have a job you hate, stick it out and start building that bridge. And you start building that bridge by putting together what we're going to talk about today. But start building that bridge so that that day will come where you can walk across that, and you have your emergency fund. You have some money saved in case your business doesn't go quite the way you want it to. But the number one thing people run into is that I want to address, because Troy and I and Martha have all mentioned it, is that when you're ready to start thinking like, okay, I'm going to start building that bridge. I'm going to build a bridge to a new career, a new brand, a personal business. Understand it's going to take a lot of work, and understand it's going to take time, but I promise you have the time. We waste so much time in a day. When we first started OOLA, I just canceled my TV. I canceled everything. And I'm like, I have no time for that. When my kids go to bed at 9 o'clock, I had 5 young kids. I was a single dad, 5 young kids. And when my kids went to bed at 9:30, I worked till 2. And then I got up with them at 7. And then I tried to figure out a time for maybe a little nap in my car, in the parking lot, waiting for them to get done with soccer. But you put in the time and the grind. And that was to build something significant that we wanted to build. But we were building that bridge. And I was building that bridge. And Troy was completely retired at the time. But for me, I was still trying to figure out how to make it all work with my family. So I was building this bridge during that time. But make sure that don't use the excuse you don't have time to do it. You do have time. If you find something you're passionate about, which we're going to talk about in this segment here today, you will find the time to build that bridge.
I'm going to say something real quick before Troy unmutes. Waka waka.
Hey, Martha, I think in like within a couple weeks, we just go, "Hey, everybody, the Troy Amdahl show," and then we'll just sit back and drink our tea.
All right.
We love you, bro. We love you, man.
Awesome. Yes. What I wanted to say super quick is just whenever they're talking about how much work they've put into their brands, you guys know that you can like piggyback on that, right? That it doesn't actually need to be that they've built an extraordinary brand, you guys. From a strategist perspective, looking at what they've built, it's it's all heart and it's all love and service for people. And I haven't seen a company ever come around that can do a company. It feels weird to even call it a company, but to come around and still have that at the size that they're at now, you guys, most of the time that falls by the wayside. Okay. And what they've done is they've made it so centric to who they are. It's everything, right? So that brand, if you align with that brand, if you align with showing up in service to people and having that balance through your life through the 7 F's, if you haven't picked up a book, pick up a book, do the things, read, grab a blog, do whatever, right? Understand, align with it, read about OOLA so you can understand what it is. But you guys, whenever you've got a brand that is so centric to that, you don't have to, if you align with it, all you have to do is say like, hey, I want to align with your brand, because that's what they're doing. Do you know how crazy that is? How crazy it is for them to just allow people into their brand to say like, hey, we want you to show up as who you are. Serve your people. And we've made all of this stuff for you. The blueprint, the framework is all right here. We've made this all for you so you can just inject your heart and your soul into it. And then it just works. So you don't even have to build stuff yourself. Like as they're talking about how hard they've worked on this brand, I want you guys to understand like you can kind of just piggyback on it. Like that's the design at this point, which you are a lucky son of a gun. Is what I'm gonna say. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Troy. Sure, you have something.
I'm just observing. No, the one thing I wanted, since we're talking about career, the category of field, I do want people to have a big dream out there that it actually is possible to do something that you're passionate about. The whole retirement thing is real. And to this day, I wake up early and I stay up late and I text because I feel like we're doing work that matters. And that is a possible thing. And some people so stuck in the grind don't even believe that anymore. I think they believed it once, maybe even in the career they're in, that this would fulfill me at some deep level. But all I can tell you from a very, very personal level is I've never worked harder, but I've never had more joy in this category of career or field, because I feel like we're doing work that matters. I feel like we're solving a problem. It's like the world has a big, like, it needs to be healed. And that's why we're reaching out to people. This brand lift you're talking about piggybacking on a brand, wasn't an easy decision for us to make. But what we realized we couldn't do it alone. 2 guys, stage to stage, a book every 2 years, in a bus, going, coffee shop to coffee shop. That was making an impact and making a wave, and the media we were getting from it and all the ripple effects. But at the core of it, we weren't reaching far enough. And that's why we need to build a small army of people. And you said it perfectly. We were doing interviews last week, and it was all this technical stuff on life coaching, which is very valuable. We have all that. We have the collateral material. We have the training material. We can make you look like a pro. We have the social media posts. We have all of that stuff that makes you look like a pro with our team. But we need the heart. I mean, that's more important to us, is we need people who in this category of field feel like they want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. They want to be a part of a community of people. We did a thing last night where we call this gal on our team the bouncer or the guardian, because she keeps all the negativity and drama out. We literally move people out because it hurts the core group. So we keep it just by who we are in OOLA. We're defined as a community of people who want to make change, and it's positive and it's kind and it's supportive. Even if your dream is different than mine, I understand that I'm still your cheerleader. And those communities are rare, and they're becoming more rare each day. And as they become more rare, there's a hunger for it. There's a hunger for people who want to do work that matters. There's a hunger for people who want to be part of a community that's positive, not negative. There's a hunger for getting away from comparison and drama into something that's actually meaningful and something that's going to make it a better world for our kids than it is for ourselves. And that's really why this category is. I just want to tell people that you may not be there now, and it may not even be in your next step. But if you continue to push yourself and evolve as a human, it's possible to someday be in a position where you know in your heart you're doing work that matters and you're passionate about it, and you're not watching a clock. You're not looking at the clock saying, okay, it's time to go home yet. You're actually looking at the clock like, is it already the end of the day? Because I got more I want to do. Yeah. That's a cool place to be. Back on mute.
No, it's fine, Troy. I actually just sitting there listening to you and Martha, actually, honestly, like almost it's a little emotional because Troy was fully retired. I did, the first time we spoke for a sandwich, it was me speaking by myself, panicking about talking to 12 people. And I got Troy out of retirement. And honestly, it's hard. We work hard and it's hard to keep up with him because of his passion. And that's one of the things we're going to be talking about in this kind of, as we're building this bridge. Number 2 is, what are you passionate about? And when you're passionate about something, you don't look at the clock. You look at the clock exactly the opposite way, trying to do it all the time. We're like, okay, it's 2. We should go to bed. Like, this is important, but we're talking about something. We're working on part of a project. And then what you said, Martha, just about piggybacking on our brand, this is a 2-year conversation in the OOLA bus about, do we let other people share OOLA, because the brand we built is the most important brand. And the other thing we didn't want to do with our brand, we didn't want to run it like a dictatorship. We wanted people to have their own brand. We wanted people to have their own voice. We wanted people to build something they love. There's enough companies out there that say, hey, if you team up with me, you can only use our products. You can only do this. You can only look like this, and you have to have this. And what we're saying is, you be your brand, piggyback on our brand. And we're taking our brand to the stratosphere over the next 7 years. And you take your brand and you stick it to that, and you ride with us. But we want you to be you. We don't want you to be us. And we worked really hard on that to create something that, as we talk about the bridge, it's what we're talking about today, in the OOLA certification to be a certified life coach, that's what we've done. We built the bridge. We built most of that bridge for you. It's like, here's how you coach. Here's how you look like a hero coaching. Here's how you guide people. Here's the framework. Here's how you market. Here's how you brand. But we don't do the work for you. We built it. You have to go through it, but then you get to do the work around that, and that work can take time. But if you're passionate, which leads us to step 2. So number 1, don't just quit. Like, you have a job that you don't like, you hate, I don't care. Stick in it for a while. Don't put your family at financial risk. Start to save, start to plan that next journey, start to build that bridge. But then number 2, when you build your bridge, you have to know where you're building it to. And you have to build it to something you think you might be passionate about, but don't think that when you build it, this is the only thing you get to do the rest of your life. And we'll talk more about that, but you can change careers. You can do something for 7 years and then go, I'm going to move over here. I'm going to move over here. But you follow the same formula. You don't just quit everything. You actually have a little plan that's starting to grow, another bridge that's starting to build to maybe something else you're also passionate about. But if you're passionate about helping people and you're passionate about being part of a bigger vision about truly, truly changing the world, you couldn't be at a better place right now than be on this live, because that's what we do. That's what, literally, Troy's retired. He doesn't have to work. He could stay at his house in Panama. He go to his house in Thailand. He can do whatever he wants. But he decides every day to probably work 10, 12 hours on OOLA because he loves it and he's passionate about that. And that's the direction we're going. And we're always looking for great people to jump on the bus with us.
Yeah. This is such a huge, huge topic, because I think that people, whenever at least the people that I've spoken with, there's a lot of them that they think, okay, well, this is what I'm passionate about. Sometimes they can't even allow themselves to think of what they're passionate about. It's been so pushed down, right? But they'll say, okay, this is what I'm passionate about, but it doesn't feel right to make money doing that. And that's where there's an old sort of like this thought form, right? Of you shouldn't make money in service. Like if you're serving your community, if you're helping people, then you shouldn't make money doing so. And I think that this is a massive, massive thing out there, because what has happened, and I'm just going to say, because I shoot from the hip and I'm just going to say it. My belief is that the enemy would love for us to believe that it is a bad thing to make money showing up in service to fellow human beings on the planet. I think that is something that the enemy would love for us to believe, is that making money is a bad thing. Here's why making money isn't a bad thing in showing up in service, in living in your passion. We paid for someone's surgery. She was a mom. She had 3 kids. Her body was going septic, and she didn't have the money for the surgery. She was just going to pass, you guys. We found out about it. We got the money to her. She flew off to another country, had the surgery. Now she's back home with her kids. That's why making money isn't wrong, you guys. In living and showing up in service and in what your passion is, you guys, the good people of the world need to be the people making the money. We will be good stewards of that money, okay? So it's not wrong in any way to show up in your passion, okay? To show up in how you love to serve people. So that's what I just want to, it's people like it's like a block. It's like this huge thing right in front of them. And it keeps them from the life that they deserve. A life where you can wake up and you're just like, man, drinking your coffee, looking out the back window, whatever, if you live in a rainforest or just on a lake or something, right? You're looking out the back window and thinking like, man, I wonder how I get to serve today. I wonder who's going to come across my path. I wonder how I'm going to get to make a positive impact in somebody's life today. That's the kind of stuff that you can do. And it's not unattainable. It's the most accessible thing that you can do. But the thing is you have to allow for it. You have to get rid of these thought forms of that, that you can't do that it's not right to do that, because that's the biggest thing. Because once you realize that you're going to help, that you're going to be able to now help people with surgeries, you can help pay off mortgages, you can help buy people houses or pay kids lunches, at school or whatever. You can be one of those people on the news that like a random person paid for the entire school's lunches today, and you can sit at home and know that that was you. You can't do that if you don't have the money, you guys. This is why we make the money, is to be able to disperse it to the people that need it. And then, let's have some fun too. But you guys, we can't help if we're also struggling, okay? I'm going to get off my soapbox. I'm going to hand it over to somebody else.
That's a great, I could go on this topic for a while, because you're really talking about the mindset of money. And we had an interesting call. We have once a month, we have a personal training with our coaches, and there's hundreds of them on, and they're all on live, and we can run these polls. And what we found before, one of the gals on our team said, hey, there's kind of 3 groups in our group, 3 subgroups. There's the group that are out there coaching, making money right now. They're doing great. They're crushing it. They're making great income, sometimes full-time income, 5 figures a month coaching. Beautiful. There's another group that they're new and they're just dipping their toe in it. And then there's another group that just simply seem to want to share OOLA. They love people. They don't want to make any money on it. They just want to share OOLA because it helps people, and it's helped their life. It's changed their life, and they want to help people. So we ran a poll, and Zoom lets you run polls. This was just a couple nights ago. And I ran a poll. It's like, did you become certified to make it a full-time gig, like your main thing, build a coaching empire? Did you do it as a part-time thing, make a little money, a multiple stream of income thing? Or did you do it simply because you want to share OOLA? So if you would have asked the person who told us that on our team, who told us that, she said it was kind of thirds. When we asked it, only 2% of the people said they don't want to make money doing it. So what that tells us is we had to coach them and said, you are being blocked by a limiting belief or a lack of self-confidence in yourself. Like if you were given the ability to help transform someone's life with this framework and you could get paid doing that, would you like to do that? They'd love to do it. They didn't say that because they didn't believe they could. So it's easier to just say, no, I like sharing it, but their heart is saying, I'd actually like to make some income doing this so I can do more of it. In our thing, we're on that bus across the country. We're on our 3rd engine. That costs money. Like we have to make money if we want to literally think about this as a metaphor. We actually literally need to keep the bus moving with money, because we blow up engines because they're 58 horsepower going through LA and through the mountains of Kentucky and Nashville. And like we have to generate income. And
isn't that like a lawnmower?
It is like lawnmowers are way more powerful than 58 horse. That's almost like a mouse for my computer has probably 58 horsepower. And I don't even know. So it's just not. But money just simply exposes. So I think that it exposes your insecurities. It exposes your demons if you're greedy. It exposes, but it also exposes generosity. It exposes kindness. It exposes humility. You get to know yourself through money. When people say money corrupts if you're corruptible. Money corrupts if you at your core are dark. I see most of the people I see making a lot of money. It's almost like the green gap. They take 10% or a certain percentage, they allocate it to lifestyle to make life easier. And then they give a big chunk of it because usually they don't have debt. And then they invest for legacy money for themselves, their family, and charitable causes they care. That's what most people do with it. The good people. I think the media brings us to the people who are blowing it. But I see it as incredibly valuable, not just for the kind things we can do with it, but if you have a business in service, more money will allow you to get that message to serve more people. As we've grown OOLA, we just dump it back in. So we can reach more people, so we can change the world. Guess what happens? More money comes our way. So we dump it more. As long as the heart is right. That's why I think it exposes. I think there's something bigger going on, that if the core of who you are is, and you have to be honest with yourself, is greed and making money, and you'll probably wonder why it never works. Mm-hmm. But if you see the people who are really heart-centered, it just flows. It's like the gates are open and like things come, not without challenges and not without hard work, but I think you're a huge mindset person. I've been consuming your content since we've been hanging out. I love it. And the content that I love the most is your mindset stuff, because a lot of this stuff, especially in career, it always goes back to the money and career and am I worth it? Am I capable? And it all goes back to those old mindset memories that we had when we were kids, that money is evil and it's the root of all evil and it's greed. And you just have to reshake it. Like so you know how your computer, like we had technical difficulties. What did you do? You rebooted your computer. I don't know what else to do. I'm just going to shut her down and start over. Yeah. And that's exactly how we get all this information. We almost have to say, I don't know what else to do, but just try to clear the slate and have a fresh, open look at money, and try to surround myself with people who have a positive mindset about it, because then I'll be able to push forward.
I'll let you talk, Dave.
I'm afraid to start talking.
What are you gonna say?
No. I'm actually I'm going all the way back to just some of the stuff we were talking about earlier with piggybacking on the brand and the importance of what I hate to see that we see too often in OOLA is people doing something they don't want to do for too long. The mindset that they're not worth it. When Troy said that, a lot of it's that self-sabotage, the self-love, the self-esteem. It's painful because at the core of OOLA, right, 7 key areas of life, there's blockers, accelerators, but one thing we say all the time is you're designed by God for greatness and a purpose. Mm-hmm. And people don't see that. They believe it superficially, but they don't see it in their own self. They see it in other people, but they don't see it in themselves. Mm-hmm. And that's such a start of this. If you, again, going back, if you're in a job that you don't like, or you like, but you want something different, you want to be part of something bigger. If you're a stay-at-home mom, but you also want something on the side, I really just imagine where you want your life to go, but then go all the way back to just repeat over and over and over. I'm designed by God for greatness and a purpose. I'm designed by God for greatness and a purpose, and start to believe that, because that's such a big mindset piece of all of this. Is if we know your audience, Martha, is heart-centered people. We know the audience that follows OOLA is heart-centered people. If we gave all of you millions of dollars, you'd do great things with it. So let's go do that together. Let's go. You can be that person that you want to be. And it starts by understanding that I am designed by God for greatness and a purpose. If I make a lot of money, when I make a lot of money someday, I'm going to be really good with it. I'm going to give back. I'm going to make the world a better place. I'm going to start building my own personal brand because I'm worth it. I'm designed by God for greatness and a purpose. Start believing that. It's just such a great way to start. Again, the bridge, building the bridges, build that on that foundation, put those concrete posts in the water where you're going to put your foundation of your bridge, and just say, I'm designed by God for greatness and a purpose. Start building that mindset around it. And I think one of the coolest collaborations that we're working on is that we do come from a very tactical goal setting, action steps, and Martha comes from such a great step of mindset and confidence and building your self-love and self-worth, and tying that together has been really cool to watch.
Yeah. Oh man, it's like a match made in heaven. It's crazy. I was telling people this morning, I'm like, I didn't even know before we talked, I didn't even know that there was another couple of people that cared about people and how they show up in the world and how they make the world a better place. I didn't know that other people existed, you know, that cared that much. And then whenever we talked, I'm like, oh, crud, you guys, like, this is crazy. This is going to be awesome. Okay. So number 2 was discover your passion. And then what would you do for free? So the question is your passion. If we go into what is your passion, right? What is the thing that you would do? So my husband and I call it the Star Trek Society, because they don't have money. They all do what they just love doing. So what is the thing that you just love doing? What's the thing you could talk about all day long without stopping, right? For me, it's business strategy. Like, I'm a geek. That's the case. Like, that's what I can talk about all day. That's why it's my thing, right? So what is the thing for you that you would do all day long? Maybe it's gardening, right? Maybe it's making model airplanes. Don't think that like hobbies can't be something that you can make a living from. Quite the opposite. I don't know if you've been to YouTube lately, but you're able to make a living even as a hobbyist, you guys. It's just how you build the income streams around it. But you can actually, like, if you think of when you were a little kid, you know how somebody asks you what you want to be when you grow up? And I remember even as a little kid thinking like, and here I'm going to get small like I'm a little kid right now, but I don't know, I just did that. But I remember thinking, it's like Lily Tomlin, right? Like my legs are just swinging from the chair. But I remember thinking like, I was saying a teacher. I remember saying a teacher and a lawyer and whatever. But I remember even as a little kid, I was like, I just want to ride horses. Right? Like, I just want to ride horses all day and play in the creek and play with frogs and that sort of thing, right? I'm from the Midwest, you guys. It's a thing. You do that in the summertime. But if you can actually like go back to yourself as a little kid and remember what got you excited, like remember those things. And if that's something that still excites you, now, am I making a living playing with frogs? No. Right? But still, if you can go back and if you have something that excited you a ton, then you can likely build income streams around that, you guys. Just a heads up. Just like if you can dream it, you can totally do it. I know it's cliche, but it's cliche because it's true. I feel like somebody else wants to talk. I was talking about
the only thing I got to say is you said I can't make a living working with frogs. I'm kind of looking at Dave and I here, and I'm like, you're kind of making a living working with frogs, you know? It's like.
And we've come full circle.
What's funny about what you were saying is back in the day, I don't know if you guys know Gary Vaynerchuk, but we used to hang out with him and we interviewed him, went to a couple football games with him. But he would always talk about blue Smurfs. And he goes, if you're into blue Smurfs with the internet, you can actually make a living around blue Smurfs. You know what I mean? And it's so true. You can do anything you want. And, you can start to build a business around it because of the reach of the internet. You're not just selling to your local community, you're actually to the world, right? So your voice, your courses, your classes, your coaching, whatever you're passionate about, you can do that. And we have one of our coaches literally that plays with horses. Her dream was to do coaching, but then turn into an equestrian-based coaching session. So people come to her ranch and they get life coaching with OOLA while they work with horses and stuff like that. So Perfect. It's amazing what you dream of, you can make happen because the world is literally your oyster with the internet. It's opened up everything. And I think
I think people are fearful of it too. They're just afraid to explore because they're safe. They're safe in the job they hate. And that's what we see as far as a blocker is like, go just explore that piece of you. You don't have to do it all. You don't have to make the leap. That's the bridge we're talking about is, yeah, keep your safe job, keep the stream, but feel free to explore that. My wife's dad was a teacher, so she just found herself in college to become a teacher, became a teacher. Fine, it was a great job. She likes helping people. But I saw her, we've been married 30 years, so I've seen her over time do creative things, and she just lights up. And now she makes jewelry. And I said, even in the early stages, I'm like, just go do more of that. She goes, but I can't do it as a job. I'm like, I don't know what it's doing, but it's pulling you that way. And when you're doing that thing, you lose track of time and you light up in a way that nothing else you do does that. Just explore that part of you. If you're watching this, yeah, you got a day job, but just start exploring that piece of you that's pulling you in a different direction.
Yeah, and you can even add things like, so if you love serving people, and like if you're hearing this OOLA framework stuff and you're like, that sounds really interesting, I wonder how this other thing would look alongside that. Let me throw two crazy things together and let's mix them up and see. Let's just do a remix on something here, okay? So like, say I'm gonna go with the jewelry making. So if somebody enjoys making jewelry and they sell it on Etsy or desire to sell it on Etsy or something like that, and then also are wanting to do OOLA life coaching, here's something that you could do. So you could actually, as you're working with somebody through their 10-week OOLA life coaching, you can be listening and you can be thinking of what would be their perfect piece of jewelry, and you can create it for them. So at the end, then they get this piece of jewelry that is all about them, all about their transformation. And that's how you can remix those two things. You guys, there's not anything that you can't remix into adding value to another human being's life. So you can use a hobby and then add value to another human being's life, put them together, and all of a sudden you've now set yourself apart in the market as well. So just saying, from the strategist.
I was actually working with a coach yesterday. This is the funniest thing that you said that. I was actually working with a coach yesterday. Every week we pick one coach and they get a recorded coaching session with me where we go through brand, we go through marketing strategy, we go through all that stuff, and then we actually record it and share it onto the Certified Life Coaching page. And I was working with this gal in Michigan, super sweet gal, who 4 years ago got on this journey with OOLA. They decided year one to make it about their marriage. They're a young couple, really cool couple, and they really tightened up their marriage because their marriage was just a marriage. They weren't working on their marriage. They're just, and if you don't work on your marriage, you're working on your divorce eventually someday. So they were just kind of going through the flow. They made it about their marriage. Then they made it about becoming debt free and all this. Well, her whole question on this coaching call was, I own a spa. I'm a massage therapist at my own spa. I have other massage therapists. I want to incorporate OOLA into it, but I don't know how. And to me, it's like a match made in heaven. And that's how we built everything in the OOLA coaching thing. It's your personal brand. It's your personal passions and desires mixed and blended with OOLA, the bigger brand, but mixed and blended with helping people, caring about people, the framework, and tying it all together. So for her, is easy. We went through, we just had a little brainstorming session on it. But think of her as a spa owner in a city where there's a lot of spas. How can you stand out? Well, what if you are a whole body wellness? What if you look at like what brings people into you in the first place? Tension, headaches, neck problems, muscle aches. What causes that? 9 times out of 10, it's a stressful lifestyle. Something's out of balance. You're struggling with your finances or your marriage or your health issues, or you're struggling with a job you can't stand and you're in traffic driving home to a spouse you can't stand and you're having stress. Well, what if we back all that up to let's start working at the root cause of actually what brings you into my spa for your massage, and let's start working on that. So we brainstormed even just on the intake form. Hey, at our spa, we work on the whole body. We work on the root cause of why you're here in the first place. So let's answer these questions based on these 7 key areas of life that I work with a company called OOLA. How about your fitness, 1 to 10? What causes stress? Fitness, your finances, do they cause you stress? Does your marriage cause you stress? Figure that out. And then it's simple, like, we're going to give you the massage you came in for, of course, but we also have this other program to help you reduce some of the stress that you're feeling in your career and your marriage. It's called OOLA. It's a 10-week program, however they want to do that, but they can integrate that. So now that's how the whole thing is built. So whatever you're passionate about, you tie it into that with your personal brand, which Martha is a master at, is helping you build your personal brand, tying your personal brand with OOLA, tying your personal, how you want to work with people into the framework, and then take it wherever you want to take it. But it's just a natural fit. So it's so true what you said.
Boom. Boom. You guys, we're at 6:11. Can you believe that? We need to go through our third point.
I got the sun. Look at this.
Ooh, you do have the sun. It's bright over there. Create a plan to follow. Who's taking that?
I'll touch on it and then Troy can run with it, but that's so OOLA. So the first thing is, if you're building a bridge from your day job to your dream job, which you should do even if you like your job, start building the bridge. You don't know what's going to happen. Build that security, build the bridge. Number 1 is what we talked about. Don't just quit. That's the number one rule. Don't do it. Like, we've seen it happen. It's a nightmare for a lot of people. It causes a lot of stress in your finances, in your family. Have a plan. So start to have a plan. Number two we talked about is, what would you do if you could do it for free? Start thinking about that. Is it hard for helping people? Is it, horses? Is it jewelry? Is it blue Smurfs? Like, what would you I love this. How can I wrap that into becoming a coach and moving that all together, teaching courses on it and working on that. And then this is simply OOLA. Develop a plan. This is where we said we're really analytical with this. Develop a plan. Like, how much money do you need saved? 7 months, maybe of security, maybe of income held to the side. How can you move from your day job to your dream job from a standpoint of work? Where are you going to find the time? And that's little action steps of, like, I'm going to cancel my TV. I'm going to talk to my husband, or I'm going to talk to my wife about this. And at 9 o'clock, I'm going to work from 9 to midnight. Whatever it's going to be. Is this going to be a 6-month transition, a 2-year transition? Where are we building this bridge? If you building a bridge over a river, no one just jumps over and starts having cars come without testing the bridge. They build the foundation, they build the bridge, and then they go, okay, where do we want the bridge to end up? This is the best spot to build it. This is where we want it to end up, because it's going to connect the 2 cities or whatever it is. And you have that plan, and then they have a set of plans and they follow that. And that's what I would encourage every one of you to do, is like, where do I want this bridge to go? What does my dream job look like? What does it feel like? How can I link maybe to the OOLA brand or the coaching, the courses that they built? But then also, it's like, what is my plan? What is my 6-month or 2-year plan where this bridge is going to be built? And then at that time, I can go, now it's time to cross it. And 2 years goes like that. It's super fast. So if it takes you 2 years to build that whole bridge, but think about it, in 2 years, in 2022, you're on the other side of that, and you aren't driving to a job you don't like. You aren't doing something that doesn't have that passion for you, or that doesn't fulfill that purpose. You're actually doing something. Imagine sitting there in 2 years from now, doing something you love every day, getting paid for it, helping other people with that. That's what you need to do when you start to build this bridge.
I'll go. Me. 2 things that I wrote down as you were talking on whenever you're working that plan, because I love plans. Whenever you're working that plan, you guys, and you're thinking like, okay, I don't have time for this. And yeah, cancel TV. Mike and I we watch Blacklist. Okay, we're on Blacklist right now. Yes, I know it's old. Yes, I know we're like way behind. But we watch 2 episodes of Blacklist before we go to bed. That's all that we watch, and it's our downtime every night. But aside from that, we have Golden Girls on, but like, we're not watching it. It's just like background music is Golden Girls in my house. Like, that's just how it goes. Everybody knows it. But you guys, what you should do is time block. Okay, if you haven't heard of time blocking, it's you set a timer for 15 minutes, okay, or however long. But 15 minutes is really, you don't realize how much you can get done in 15 minutes until you set a timer, turn off anything that's going to give you any notifiers, notification, dings, bings, whistles, any of that, turn it all off. Yes, jump out of Facebook, jump out of everything, okay? And even your email, shut it down. Don't get notified about anything. Do the thing that you said you were going to do for 15 minutes. Here's the thing. It's super likely that whatever that thing is that you were trying to do is going to take you much less time than 15 minutes. But if you had all those notifications and everything else going on, it may have taken you 2 hours and you still wouldn't be done. You are actually an efficient being by nature. We are, okay? But we have to be against the clock. We have to have a timer set up. And then whenever the timer goes off, you're done. And if you're not actually done with the thing that you were doing, that's fine. Set another timer when you can for 15 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. Set another timer later and finish your task. And then what you're going to get are wins, okay? So whenever we're talking about plans and planning out what you're going to do, so like you're planning out your finances and stuff like that. Those are necessary foundations. When you start planning out, like, I'm going to do this on social media, I'm going to do this many blogs this week, I'm going to do this on my website, da 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 da. You guys, whenever you actually write those down and plan those out as you're building towards something, what you're going to get are wins that you weren't getting before, okay? So you'll be able to mark off that plan that you had. Write a blog post this week. Hallelujah, I wrote a blog post, mark it off. And then what do you get? A dopamine hit. Okay, that dopamine is going to trigger to your brain that you had a success. You're going to want more of that dopamine. You're going to want more of that success. That's like the drug that you want, right? You want the success drug. You want the drive. You want the I'm doing this drug, okay? You get that drug whenever I'm talking about drugs, this is weird. But you get that drug, you guys, whenever you are actually accomplishing tasks. So you guys, whenever you start to look at the whole big picture, a lot of times people get, here's the word, overwhelmed, okay? They get overwhelmed because they see they have to do all of this stuff and they're like, oh, I can't do all of that stuff. Well, right. Nobody's supposed to do all of that stuff. My mom is calling me right now. My phone just went off. Nobody can do all of that stuff, you guys, okay? You have to do it one at a time and then mark them off, get the dopamine hit from it and move forward one at a time. You guys, if you try to do everything at once, I God bless you, I understand it. And especially the red personalities out there, of which I am one, right? You're like, I want it all right now. But you have to still take your steps in order for it to be functional and for it to be sustainable and to be able to actually do it and see it through, or else you're just going to try to eat an entire chocolate cake at once and it's just going to get smeared all over everything. It's not going to work, you guys. You have to do it piece by piece by piece by piece, and then enjoy the journey of doing it, right? Enjoy marking off the task and feeling that sense of accomplishment of mom is working these goals. Mom just did this. Mom did this while she's raising a family, and she's doing this and she's doing that and she's doing this too. And she's making a choice to do this. And that's time blocking, mini goals. That's what I wanted to add here. My mom left me a voicemail apparently. Sorry.
We're just so on the same page with all that, because that's what we talk about all the time is the note cards, following your note card and really following through. So I think Martha should take this home. That was amazing. But I think it's, if you always say, Martha, the nudge, you talk about the nudge, but if you feel like, even if there's a chance someday in 2 years or 3 years, you could see yourself doing something different, the time to start is now on building the bridge to where you want to go. It's not when you hate it. If you hate it, if you're stuck in a place where you hate your job, don't quit, but start building as soon as you can and work your tail off to get there. But if you're in a job you like, start building that bridge anyway, because you don't know what the economy, you don't know what the world, you don't know what your passions and purpose are going to be in 2 years. So you start building that bridge now, and in 2 years, guess what you get to do? Cross it or not cross it. But at least it's built. At least you're not doing something you hate for 2 years while you're thinking of building this bridge to do something else. So just start that process.
I wrote down 3 words you said, Dave. I never heard you say this before. And it's that's what we're inviting you to do. Can you see it?
Ride with us.
Ride with us, man. If you're thinking that in this category of career and you want to be part of a movement of people who are like-minded and want to pour into other people to see them tap into their full potential, to release the mindset and the blockers of the things that have been, if you could be part of someone's, just be a cheerleader and a spectator and a guide through this framework. Everything we're talking about is the framework. You talk about taking steps every day. The framework encourages people to put a target on a goal, a very clear goal. I want to increase my blog population by my blog traffic by 40%. And my note card says every day I need to take 3 steps toward that. Maybe it's write 3 blogs. Maybe it's look at my SEO. Maybe it's whatever it is, but just small little steps every day lead to the biggest transformations. And I just know that this crowd, I love this crowd. I love hanging out with you guys because that's why we go super long. In fact, I'm going to get a call I'm going to have to take in about 3 minutes.
I know, right?
But
I already got one.
Yeah, that's mom. That's more important than mine. Mine's work related. But it's like-minded people who just want to make a difference. And I would just encourage you to, if you just take action, just move. I just know statistically, I'm a big numbers person. So I know statistically there's a bunch of people are going to watch this and nod their head the whole way through and do nothing. I just know it. That's just numbers. It's like people who read a book and never change a thing. It's just numbers. But there are the people that actually, and then they're going to wonder why they still a year later feel overwhelmed and unhappy. The people that feel fulfilled are the people that are actually making moves. They're doing things. They're shaking it around. They're like pushing things around, like a bull in a china shop. It's not always pretty. It's not always perfect, but they're not afraid to go forward. And that's kind of what we're asking you, is whether it's become a coach with us and ride with us, which we'd love to have you, or it's you want to be a photographer. I just start exercising that part of you and quit playing it safe and start doing something that's more consistent with your calling and purpose.
I'm going to talk to my people here real quick. So you guys know about bat signal. And you know that because you're watching me, you are in my bat signal, which means we're the same. That in some capacity, we are the same. If we're the same and you're looking at what I'm doing and you're saying like, I love what she's doing. I love how she's able to show up. Or you always we just love what you're talking about and da-da-da-da-da. Like there's all sorts of messages and comments and stuff like that all day, every day, right? If you guys love that, the only way that you would love that is if it also exists in you. You're recognizing a piece of me that exists in you, and that's why you appreciate it, okay? You're seeing a mirror. We mirror to each other, right? My fear, oh, don't cry, Martha. My fear is that you're going to spend your life watching me do this and that you're not going to do it for yourself. And not only does that break my heart for you, but it breaks my heart for all of the people around you, all of the people that could have seen you show up, all of the people that need for you to step into this version of yourself so then they can be unlocked from what they're doing. You guys, this is a ripple effect. And if you think that this is just business or just income streams, you're dead wrong. This is how we change the world, you guys. This is ministry. This is mission work. My sister said it last night. Her husband is a pastor, and she was like, what you're doing is mission work. And that is what it is, you guys. We're changing lives, you guys. We're showing up in a way that the world doesn't want people to show up. And if you can make a living doing that, you guys, what else is there? What else is there? We're wasting time. We're wasting time doing anything but our God-given purpose. And if you don't feel like you're working or living in your God-given purpose right now, my challenge to you is this. My challenge to you is to sit in prayer. I don't want you to do anything without praying. Okay, don't do that. But sit in prayer. Ask for the solution or the right thing to be illuminated for you. My prayer is always this, and I don't use good grammar with God, and I think God understands that. It seems to. My prayer is always this. Make something illuminated so well. Make it so doggone bright, because you know me and I'm a little like, all over the place, right? Make it so doggone bright that I can't not see it, okay? It needs to be that thing. You need to feel a nudge. You need to feel that push. If you're feeling that like something where you just can't even sit still right now, where you're just like, I know, like she's talking to me. She's talking to me. If that is how you're feeling, you need to talk to someone, okay? If you want to message me, that's fine. What you need to do first is go to, the link is in the comments here, but oolalife.com/Martha, okay? You're going to go onto that page and you're going to click a button. You're not going to pay any money or anything. You're going to click a button. You're going to have a conversation with somebody and you're going to see if OOLA is right for you, okay? It's not going to be a weird sales conversation. It's just to see if it's right for you. If it's right for you, you take the next step. If you take the next step, you guys, we are having, I don't know who all knows about this. I think a lot of people do. We're having on December 7th, a $2,500 mastermind that you're going to get in for free. In that mastermind, you guys, here's what's going to happen. we're going to organize 2021 for you. So this whole getting batted around by 2020 is not what 2021 is going to be like for you. Where it's not even how 2020 has been for me. That's how I know 2021 isn't going to be like that for you, because we're creating this blueprint, right? This is going to be good directives, a good blueprint. I don't have another way to say it, of how to take on 2021. You're going to plan your future. You're not going to let things happen to you. You're going to choose how you show up in 2021. You're going to choose how those ripples happen in your world. You're going to show up, you're going to plant your flag, and then all of the miracles and the magic starts happening after that, okay? But here's the thing. Here's where it doesn't happen. The magic and the miracles do not happen if you flirt with an idea. If you say, oh, I might try this, man, I don't know. And then afterward, you're like, why didn't anything happen? Because you didn't commit. You didn't say, I'm doing this thing and it's going to happen, right? I'm committed to this concept. I'm committed to this idea. I'm committed to this version of myself, right? And showing up in the world this way. That is when the miracles can happen, because quite frankly, here's my opinion. Whenever you flirt with something, you can't be held responsible for the people that are going to come to you. Okay? Because God sends people our way, across our paths all the time. But until you commit and say, yes, I'm ready for these people, they don't come to you. Okay? So that's why it doesn't happen when you flirt with an idea. But yes, oolalife.com/Martha. Click on the button to talk to one of the advisory coaches. You're just going to have a conversation, see if it's right for you. If you take the next step and you say that it's right for you, you're coming with me, because I'm doing it too. Okay, we're all doing it together. And then December 7th is the mastermind. So buckle your safety belts, because 2021 is going to be one heck of a ride. What do you guys have to say?
I couldn't agree more. I'm at 2%. I'm at 2% battery. The sun,
no.
Look at this. The sun. I'm at 2% battery, so I'm gonna let Troy take this one home. I'm at 1% now. So if I just like go dark, I love you guys. You are awesome, and I can't wait to see you on the mastermind. But I'm gonna let Troy take over.
No, it's great hanging out. I just love hanging out with people who just want it. The fact that people are watching this and watching it all the way through means they're feeling uncertain and they want change in the category of career. You've given them great advice. Break down the mindset. Take action. Boldly pursue the thing that's pulling at you, even if it's counterculture and different from what everyone else is doing. Because when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you get in a flow that gives you a peace and fulfillment that nothing else can buy. So I just say, just boldly pursue that. And next week, we're gonna talk more about some of the strategy with brand. There went his battery right there. So we're gonna talk more. We're gonna talk more about brand, but looking forward to next week already.
All right, boom. Yes, we will talk to you next week, and there goes Dave. All right, you guys have the best time. Go there if you want to have the conversation between now and next week. You guys, next Thursday is going to be boss. See you later. Have a good call, Troy.